Hello my friends, it's Smash character prediction time. That's right, we're gonna ride this wave for as long as we can. We're gonna milk this topic for all it's worth. Seriously though, I know I already did a Smash Brothers video and everyone and their mother has already done character predictions. Two reasons I'm still doing one here though. First, if the game is coming this year, it's basically a guarantee that E3 is when Nintendo's gonna blow the lid off of this one. So really, we've only got 2 more months to make silly speculation videos like this. So why do we insist on doing them when all we've got to do is wait a little longer for official info? Well, that's reason number 2. They're just fun. It's just plain old fun to dream about this stuff, and each person is gonna have different predictions and wishes and ideas. So even if we're only 2 months away from knowing more, that's 2 months of silly fun we get to have, which will of course make those 2 months much easier to take. And that's a relief because the wait leading up to E3 is pure agony. So as with any prediction video, this is not comprehensive and will be 100% wrong, and coming from a casual Smash fan, you'll probably think most of it is uninformed and or stupid for whatever reason. But let's stop yakking about it and get started! Whoosh! So let's start with the most obvious one first. Waluigi has got to be in Smash 5. I know Nintendo just loves to ignore this guy outside of Mario Party and sports games, but I feel like his inclusion is inevitable. In fact, I was really surprised he didn't make it into 4. But now, thanks to meme culture, the character has gained a nigh-on religious following, so even if they didn't plan on including him at first, if I were them, I would cram him into the game before launch by any means necessary. In the same vein, they'll be adding Daisy, though of course by in the same vein, I mean because she's something of a classic character now, so it feels inevitable, and certainly not because she's popular or anything. I mean, does anyone really care about Daisy at all? I know I was just dead wrong when I said that about Isabelle and Mario Kart, so maybe she's got some huge following I don't know about. I don't know, but I think this is the time. They'll stick her in there. Here's another one that seems completely inevitable. They put Inklings in there, so they're definitely gonna put some ARMS characters in there too. I mean, it's already a fighting game for Pete's sake. It's too perfect. If there's any character I'm willing to bet actual money on, it's someone from ARMS. To make a more specific prediction though, we'll be getting Springman and Ribbon Girl. They'll be very similar, almost clones, but with a few of their own unique character-specific abilities. After that, we'll get another NES throwback along the lines of Duck Hunt and Little Mac. Balloon Fighter will be all about aerial combat. He'll be the opposite of Little Mac, in fact, almost worthless on the ground. And his air attacks will be amazing, but he'll also be very light and susceptible to being smashed into oblivion. Here's an interesting one. I mentioned this idea in my last Smash video, and I'm going out on a limb and making a straight-up prediction. Paper Mario will be a new character. Unfortunately for us Paper Mario fans, though, he'll be modeled after, let's just call it modern Paper Mario. Stuff with paint and stickers with no abilities to be seen from the first 3 games. In fact, his paint hammer will be his primary weapon, and his final smash will be based on one or more things. On the tail of that one, I'm gonna give honorable mention to Mario and Luigi, as in the Mario and Luigi series, Mario and Luigi functioning as one fighter a la Ice Climbers. There's so much potential there with all their bros moves and all that, so I was close to including them in this list, but in the end, I think Nintendo would consider it too confusing to have a Mario, a Luigi, and a Mario and Luigi. You know what I mean? Speaking of Ice Climbers, though, they're making a comeback. They were only pulled out of Smash 4 because of technical limitations on the 3DS, so I see no reason why they won't join the roster this time around. Then we're gonna get a few oddball surprises. First, Dylan from the 3 Dylan's Rolling Western games on the 3DS eShop. It seems a little unlikely just because the games aren't like big properties or anything, but man, Nintendo just seems to love the guy and won't stop making games for him. So I predict that they'll roll that love into Smash 5 in the form of an original character to everyone's surprise. Second oddball, it's gotta happen. It's got to happen. It just makes too much sense. Tingle's gonna be in the game, and I'm calling it right now. S tier. Pokemon, that one's hard to predict. There's definitely gonna be 1 or 2 new ones in there, but I'm not super up to date on the last few generations, so I don't know who's popular and who would make a good fighter. Decidueye fits really well into Pokken though, and it sounds like he's pretty popular, so hey, let's go with that one. If I were in charge, I would include some new Pokemon as a sneak peek into Gen 8, but I don't think that'll happen, so I won't make it one of my official predictions. Next, we got clones, and there are 3 of them this time around. The first is Impa, who naturally will be a clone of Sheik, modeled after young Skyward Sword Impa. I know this is a pretty obscure pick, but hey, They included Starwolf in Brawl, a secondary villain with almost no screen time from a series that Nintendo doesn't even like, so I'm sticking with her. Second, we'll get Rex, the guy from Xenoblade Chronicles Dos, a clone of Shulk, the guy from Xenoblade Chronicles Uno. Pretty self-explanatory. Lastly, we'll get Dixie Kong as a Diddy clone. Instead of a jetpack, she'll of course use her little twirly hair move. The pistol might look a little weird coming from her, but they'll do it anyway. We're on the final editions though, and post-Melee Smash just wouldn't be post-Melee Smash without weird third-party characters that don't really fit, but we love them anyway. There will be 2 this time, and the first is Rayman. Now, based purely on the series' popularity and its presence on Nintendo platforms, I wouldn't imagine that this would happen. Nintendo seems to only want very big and impactful third-party icons in Smash. Snake, Sonic, Mega Man, Pac-Man, Cloud, Ryu. However, Nintendo's been really chummy with Ubisoft for a while now, so Rayman is the sort of character I could see happening. It's still too early for Rabid Mario and all them, but maybe they could be in his final Smash or something. Then the second third-party character, and the last on my list of new challengers, is Monster Hunter. These games are huge. They've been huge on Nintendo systems. It only makes sense to me that a guy from the series would join the battle either with a big ol' sword or even the ability to change weapons. That'd be fun. Throw in some simple facial customization options, I could see something silly like that making it into a Smash game. So that's my list, and as you'll see, I haven't included any indie characters that people are hoping for, like Shovel Knight or Steve or anyone like that. Like I said earlier, Nintendo seems to want legacy characters, and while plenty of indie games have grown to be very large, and Shovel Knight even got his own line of amiibo, I just don't see it happening in Smash. Though, in the wouldn't it be neat category, imagine that every iteration of Smash had 1 or 2 indie characters as a tradition, and every time we would all be wondering who made the cut this time around. That would be way too cool. We may be done with new characters, but that ain't all there is to predict. Someone's gotta get the axe, so who's it gonna be? Well, first up, maybe this is just wishful thinking, but I think they'll scale back their Fire Emblem roster. Really not sure why it went so crazy in the first place. I think they just really wanted to promote the new game, seeing as Marth and Roy made such a big impact in Melee. They'll give Roy and Corrin the shaft. And while I'll be happy that they're scaling back, I'll also be a little bit sad because Roy's my boy, and Marth's, Marth's a Sarth. I don't know. He's a jerk. After that, Mii Fighters, they're out of here. They were a fun idea, but Nintendo doesn't seem to care too much about Miis anymore. I thought they would be a permanent Nintendo fixture, but my guess is that they wanted to distance themselves as far from the Wii and Wii U as possible, but that's a whole other discussion. Mii Fighters in the toilet. Then Dark Pit just doesn't seem important. Palutena was a really original character, and 2 characters from Kid Icarus seems like it's enough, especially considering who even knows what the future of the series looks like, if it even has a future. So, no Dark Pit. Rob is a hard one. He's a little like Mr. Game & Watch in that not a lot of people are old enough to understand what these characters even are. I was surprised when both of them survived the transition from Brawl to 4, and that makes me feel like Nintendo doesn't want to ditch little chunks of nostalgia like that once they've created them. But sometimes when you're making predictions, you gotta go out on a limb, because unexpected stuff is always bound to happen, especially when you're talking about Nintendo. Mr. Game & Watch will stick around, but Rob is out. And in that same vein, Cloud and Ryu. It seems unlikely that they would go to the trouble to introduce these characters after the fact, only to ditch them again. But I'm gonna make my most unlikely prediction of the whole bunch and say that they're gonna get the axe. Just like Snake, they were both third-party human characters that were extra weird seeing in the Nintendo universe, so there'll be no shows when Smash 5 rolls around. So those are my predictions, but now it's your turn. Head on down to that little old comment section down there and give me your ridiculous roster predictions that will definitely not happen. Thanks for watching, and before we go, it's time for an Arlo Direct. File this under A for Aww. So Nintendo is awesome and sent me some Kirby goodies to give away to celebrate the release of Star Allies. So I enlisted some friends to help me track down the biggest Kirby fan we could find. Or should I say, the smallest? It just happened to be this guy's birthday, so naturally he was the perfect recipient, and I'm happy to say he very much enjoyed the gifts. Here he is opening an adorable Sword Kirby plushie.
Kirby.
Though his Kirby appetite was not yet sated.
Look, Kirby. Look, Kirby.
Fortunately, Nintendo had him covered and also sent along his very own copy of Star Allies, which he was eager to enjoy. In addition to being a Kirby fan, this guy's also a big fan of me.
Hello! Hi!
Hi, Arlo!
Hello!
Oh.
How you doing? Oh, give me a hug. That's a hug.
Oh.
How about you? Hi! Have a hug. Give a hug. Oh.
Oh, you know.
Is it your birthday?
Yeah.
Are you having a happy birthday? Having a good time? Are you wearing a hat? Did you need a cake? Oh, hi! Wow! Oh, jeez!
And it turned out he wasn't the only Kirby fan at the party.
Kirby Star Allies
Yes.
has Cam out on the Switch.
Wow, really? I played that one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, oh boy. It's hard.
The party was a blast, and I just received a report that the goodies are being enjoyed thoroughly. And also, here's the birthday boy's impression of Kirby's inhale. That's too much. Tune in next time for another painfully adorable Arlo Direct.